that wonderful time of the year filled with joy, not just for families, but entire nations. Now, while traditions like family gatherings, charity, gift giving, and merrymaking remain timeless, some aspects of Christmas have evolved over the years. What has changed, and does it really matter? We'll explore that and more shortly, so stay tuned. I'm Adwoa Tenkoramaa Domena, and welcome to Africa Link, the podcast that connects you to the stories that truly matter.
Africa Link, every weekday here on DW.
From the Gambia to South Africa to Namibia, unique traditions make Christmas special for people across Africa. On today's podcast, we want to ask a simple question. Has the way we celebrate Christmas evolved in your country? And what does the season truly mean to you? I have been joined by my colleagues in parts of Africa. Of course, from Cameroon, we have Moki Edwards. From Kenya, we are joined by Andrew Wasike. And then, of course, from Nigeria, our friends, we have Chinaza Samuel. Welcome, lady and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Well, might I just put on record that I am Ghanaian, and proudly so too. So I'll be bringing you, how Ghana is also celebrating the Christmas, but in a spirit of togetherness and maybe even slight bias. Let me begin with our Nigerian friends. Chinaza.
Yes.
You people have taken our dirty December, but we no fear. How is it going in Nigeria?
Oh, dirty December. That's become a word. Every time Christmas season comes up, the next thing you hear is people say dirty December. And yeah, I've seen the argument that Ghana started it, but now we own it. Dirty December is for now.
We did start it.
When right now Nigeria owns dirty December, but Christmas season it's a very exciting season for many people in Nigeria. For me, it has definitely changed. Growing up, it used to be very communal, very loud, lots of family around, moving from one house to another, long church services and food that you would feel it's endless. It was more of activity and excitement of the season. But now Christmas has become a bit much more quiet. It's become much more intentional. You have work to consider, you have distance to consider, and the realities of adulthood, it sets in as well. But people still find a way to have a good time within the Christmas period, and it's still fun.
Thank you, Chinaza, for that. Let me just ask you, Moki, do you believe adults should celebrate Christmas?
I have always believed that it's a feast for children because when you look at the preparations here in Cameroon, it's basically for children and for women. Men struggle to make sure they satisfy their kids and then their wives, their girlfriends, and so on. When you go to the market now, you see that it is more commercialized. It is no longer a religious feast it used to be. It is becoming something for business. So the spiritual aspect of it is very, very absent. There are many more people going to the nightclubs, going to the markets, to popular spots, than they go to churches. So it is really changing. And the people who are going to these churches are mostly women and children. That's why I'm saying I believe it is a feast for mostly women and children.
Interesting. I am sure Andrew doesn't agree with you. Andrew, Christmas, how is it going in Kenya? And do you agree with Moki?
Well, I do not agree with Moki, but the only reason why I do not agree with him is because I come from a different region, because I'm in East Africa. So when I was younger, Christmas meant excitement and togetherness without pressure, Food did not have to be fancy. Gifts were not expected at all. And being together was enough. But today, it means... Today, especially in the Kenyan setup, you'll find that a lot of people tend to pick fights. There is a lot of gossip during this family event. So
pick fights?
Yes, pick fights. Let's say you're from the other side. You're my cousins. You're my relatives. You'll come there. We have got inheritance to talk about too. We have got somebody who did not attend somebody's funeral last week or last month. Everybody picks this time as a time to just pick fights.
That is quite interesting because for my reality in Ghana, it's quite the opposite. So you find people who may even be at loggerheads or have not talked in a long time. When it comes to Christmas, everybody is just, uniting. And there's that joy of seeing your family. You put, I don't know, there's that thing that comes with Christmas that makes people want to put every differences aside. That's the case in Ghana. But it's surprising to know that some people, will come to the Christmas table and, begin talking about inheritance in Christmas. But Moki, let me come to you. Cameroon has come from a very tense political atmosphere. And it's not been long since the election and all that brouhaha that surrounded it. How is the election shaping Christmas celebration in Cameroon in this year?
It is true that Christian leaders have been calling for reconciliation, for people to forget the past, to come together, to build a common nation. But when you look at it critically, you see people are really forgotten. They have forgotten the violence that erupted in the whole country after the presidential elections. More so because the person who claimed he won the elections, Issa Chiroma, he's said to be in the Gambia. So people are saying that the general who was supposed to lead people in the war fronts has abandoned and has escaped, so they cannot continue, supporting him. But generally, there is peace, there is calm, there is serenity. But there's an aspect I would love us to highlight, which seems to me very peculiar about Cameroon. Muslims and Christians come together in celebrations. I mean, it is so peculiar in Cameroon that you see Muslims going to feast with, Christians inviting Muslims to feast with them. The Council of Imams and Muslim dignitaries said it this week that it is open. They are even organizing parties and inviting Christians. In fact, I discussed with their president, Omaru Musa, this morning, who is saying that there's a party that they are jointly organizing with Christians to make sure that they promote living together and stop this extremism, this religious extremism that has been turning communities apart. So it is a peculiar situation in Cameroon, which many people, even the government, is encouraging. At times, the government comes in to support communities to come together. It also happens in Cameroon when Muslims are celebrating their own feast. So it is a peculiar aspect about Cameroon that the government and NGOs and even some UN agencies have been trying to encourage.
Well, that's quite new and refreshing to hear. Chinaza, let me come to you. How do you feel hearing what Moki has said?
Regardless of tribe or religion, every time there's a festive season, end of the year, there's this communal spirit that you see many people celebrate, regardless of where they come from, whether they are Northerners, whether they're Southerners, whether they are Christians, whether they are Muslims. In Nigeria, it really doesn't matter. There's a lot of communal spirit, and everyone is just in a very good mood. And this time is very sensitive for Nigeria because we have security concerns, and people are just trying to survive. People are just trying to, have a good time, regardless of the security situations that the country is going through.
Now let's rewind to the celebration mood, because that's what this podcast is really about anyways. What is that one memory you remember from your childhood Christmas that you wish could have returned in this Christmas that we are having now? Chinaza, that's to you.
Can I really say it? It's the Christmas hair, the Christmas clothes, the Christmas shoe. I really look forward to that. When I was much younger, as a child, Christmas meant fun, new clothes, new hair, new shoes. Everything has to be new. Today, it seems like there's a shift from that. Christmas has become more reflective. It's more about gratitude. It's more about, getting through the year and taking stock of what really matters now. Now, for many families, it's become about economic pressure. Christmas is not just about abundance anymore. It's about appreciation. So for me, the one thing that I would like to see is a Christmas where people can travel home safely, meet their loved ones safely, not families that are grieving from the endless, senseless killings, not families that are, contributing millions of naira trying to pay ransom. I would really love to see a Nigeria where people can go home through the roads and not fear that they will be kidnapped, because that is the one thing that we used to have growing up. I would go from I would go from the city where I live to the village and would go by road. But now I would fear traveling by road because you don't know what's waiting for you. Chances are it's either you do you fly or you go by road and then reserve some money for ransom because you're most likely going to be kidnapped. So I'm looking forward to seeing a Christmas where people can really travel without fearing that they'll be kidnapped or something bad is going to happen to them.
That's quite emotional, and we'll come back to you on this point on whether or not there are signs that suggest that that sort of Christmas is likely going to happen anytime soon. But Andrew, let me come to you. Christmas then and now, what do you miss the most?
What I loved about Christmas and what I really miss about Christmas is the fact that I used to eat a lot. I would eat and eat. Every neighbor is cooking. Everybody is inviting me. I will eat chicken over here. I'll have some goat meat over there. I'll have some beans somewhere else. I was eating all the time. Nowadays, people tend to keep to themselves. It's not safe. People are not outgoing as much as growing up, because growing up in Kenya, we have got this thing whereby we say you are your neighbor's child. So they will take care of you as if you are their own, you know? So I really miss the lots and lots of food that I used to have.
But are you cooking yourself to share with some neighbors, just to revive that feeling that you used to have when we were growing up?
Of course, this is ingrained in my DNA. I have to cook. Even if no one will come, I have to cook. But definitely, I'll be very intentional and I'll call a couple of people over. I'm actually planning on preparing some goat meat and, just some good food. And I'll be calling people and making my younger self feel nostalgic about how I used to spend Christmas. So definitely, yes, I'll be cooking and you're invited. You're all invited.
Yes, just know that you can deliver some of the food as well. So we are open to the delivery.
Definitely. Welcome.
Okay, Zaka, let me come to you now. You are putting up, your Christmas tree and lights and everything. For you, what tradition of Christmas, especially when it comes to the family, do you wish that can be maintained?
When we were young, this community spirit where they were sharing, remember that in Cameroon at the time, rice was a luxury, and that was the main food prepared during Christmas. So there were children from poor families who eat rice once in a year. They love eating, they share with other families that had. Today it's difficult to see that type of tradition. One other aspect during Christmas in Cameroon was the fact that communities, tribes organized cultural activities. They called them Cultural Week, and they coincided with the Christmas period, where children will come and learn some aspects of their tradition. They learn what is done back in their homes. But for the past 9 years in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, there's been conflict, these Anglophone separatist conflicts that have stopped almost everything. People don't go back to their villages. They don't know how their culture is. Remember a child who was born 9 years ago. He or she should be 9 years now, but does not know what is happening at home. In those years, this period were periods where children will go back to their homes, to their tribes, to their families, to their palaces, to their ancestors, and learn some of the aspects of the culture. If those things could be revived, if peace can come back, so that people go back and celebrate the way it used to happen in those days, go back to church and sing the way people sing in your communities, in your tribe, I think Christmas will start being the feast it used to be in those days, attracting many more people spiritually and joining their cultural traditions than it is today, where people only are happy when they go to nightclubs and dance than they go to churches or go to learn in areas where they could learn.
There are some people who have also made the argument that generations change and a lot of things come into play when you're talking about traditions and how they are reformed over the years. Do you think urbanization or modernization has had a lot of negative impact rather than positive on Christmas?
I think so, because Christmas was also a period people were sharing Christmas cards where you drafted your messages to the person you loved or to the family you kept in mind. But now people are sharing messages on social media platforms. That love, that personal message drafted by you yourself with your own handwriting is no longer there. So even pictures. You had pictures that you snap and you kept them at home. Now with gadgets, people snapping pictures keeping them in their phones, and after some time, you will not even have history because those pictures will be deleted.
Andrew, would you like to also take this question? Has modernization and urbanization impacted Christmas?
Yeah, definitely. Urbanization has definitely reshaped Christmas completely. Many families right now, and I'm sure it's the same, not just for Nairobi, Johannesburg, Lagos, I'll say many families are now spread across cities or even outside the country. Travel has become expensive, and time has become limited. You cannot leave the US to come to Nairobi to, for Christmas. So Christmas has, because of urbanization, Christmas has become less about location and I would say more about connection.
Right. Chinaza, let me come to you. There's this bit about commercialization that Moki was mentioning earlier. Do you think Christmas brings some sort of pressure for family members who maybe are perceived to be well off, or just generally, does it bring pressure economically to people?
Yes, of course, I think so. And I would say in Nigeria, it has to do with social media. For me, social media has changed the way Christmas looks. I said this earlier that from around 2050, you often see families from celebrities. It's going to start from celebrities. They are the ones that are going to start sharing pictures on the gram in matching pajamas, posed behind a Christmas tree in carefully curated home settings. For some family, it has become part of the celebration itself, capturing that moment. Everyone is looking really beautiful, really nice pajamas, and the pictures are really beautiful. Now, it's fun, to be honest, to create memories, but it has also introduced a quiet pressure. It makes people feel like Christmas has to look a certain way to be meaningful. So if you don't have the beautiful backdrop setup, you don't have the pajamas, and social media has I feel like social media has added a performative element, if I can call it that, to something that used to be very private, very family-centered celebration. It's no longer just, as you are. Now it has to have a certain look. So that's pressure that I feel like social media has, added to what Christmas that used to be very private, family-centered has become now.
I completely agree with the point you're making, because now, and I mean even weeks before Christmas countdowns begin, you see people setting up Christmas trees, and that influences you in a way, I think, because for me, for instance, I put up my Christmas tree beginning of December. That's what I usually do, like every year. But there are certain times you will see people put up their Christmas tree in a certain way, and you wish, oh, should I have done it this way? Should I have done it that way? Does that pressure affect you as well, Moki and Andrew?
If I can start, for me, Christmas has always been about Mariah Carey and that song. I think it's called "It's Time," and it usually comes on November 1. That's when you know you are late. Your Christmas tree should have been set up by November 1.
Can you sing a line on that for us? We would love to hear it.
Okay, I can try, but no.
No, please don't sing. Thank you.
Let me finish the point. Okay, so by November 1 this year, I had already set up my Christmas tree, and everybody was looking at me. They were like, okay, Christmas is 29, it's on December 1st. It starts on December 1st, but no, I feel like Christmas should come earlier because it's a period. And then when it comes to the day of Christ, then we can celebrate that. But it tells you that we have spent this whole year, now it's time for us to relax. And you start relaxing from November, you turn the heat will now be low, you will not be overworking and all that. So yeah, for me, it's Christmas starts on November 1, the period. I'm curious to hear about Moki.
Yeah, Moki, can we hear from you as well?
Now you're calling today. Today I was trying to set up my Christmas tree because of when you bring those Christmas gadgets, Christmas tree and the rest to your home, as from the 1st of December, within 2 weeks, children are asking you to change them because they have seen modern ones or better ones on social media platforms. So you just have to play with them and bring it 1 week before the Christmas. That is what I had, and of course they will cope with it. I don't know if Andrew takes that into consideration, or his own children or friends and family accept the Christmas tree he has for the whole period. Go to the markets now. Those Christmas trees that are imported from China. In fact, they are beautiful ones that come every day. So to cope with the financial situation now, which is not really good, in fact, you have to understand how to go about it.
Moki,
please go ahead, Andrew.
Sorry, let me just respond. Moki, that's a very important question. I will answer you by telling you, okay, today is on the 23rd, and I set up my Christmas tree today. Then I've got 24, 25, 26 Boxing Day, and then I have to remove it again, you see? So for me, I want to see this tree in my house for at least 60 days. I think that is fair. That would work for everyone.
Wow. Under 6 days a lot. You don't get tired. You don't get pressured.
I will not get tired. I will even be walking around. I see these bells, and then I'll buy like 1 or 2 just to add to my tree. It's never well decorated until you decorate it. You overdo it. Then that's a Christmas tree.
Now we see the person who loves Christmas most among us. Thank you, all of you. Final words, all of you, the 3 of you, in 30 seconds. Let me know, or let us know, our listeners, whoever is listening to this podcast. Do you think that in African countries we can preserve, even in the slightest form, the true meaning of Christmas? I'll begin with the lady and then the gentleman can follow.
Yes, I think we can preserve the African Christmas tradition. And the one thing I'd like to see preserved is the sense of community, the willingness to share even when there isn't much, and the understanding that Christmas is ultimately about people, not possession. Because that's growing up, that's how I used to see Christmas. That's how I used to understand Christmas. So as long as the spirit remains, the celebration will continue to hold meaning even as it evolves.
Beautiful. Moki?
What people see elsewhere, it is no longer a feast for Christians alone. It's a feast for everybody. First of all, in all countries, this period is holiday. So everybody is celebrating. It will no longer be a Christmas feast or a feast for Christians only. It's a feast for communities. And what we should be done now by the Christian denominations that are supposed to be promoting the values of the Christian faith is to teach people at least to live Christian lives or to live morally upright lives. Because now you see many people going to nightclubs, as I said, than they go to churches, which means the feast is no longer a Christian feast it used to be.
On that Pastor Kinzeka note, Andrew, can we hear from you as well?
Definitely here I will tend to lean on to what Chinaza said. I genuinely believe we can, and in many ways, we already are. In Africa, with a focus on my country, Kenya, the spirit of Christmas has never been about decorations or expensive gifts. It has always been about sharing food, laughing together, reconnecting, and also making space for each other. So that part has not disappeared. What we need to protect is, like Chinaza said, that sense of community. Christmas here has always been about togetherness, not perfection. It's about like what I plan to do, cooking too much food and making sure no one eats alone, reconnecting with family. So the traditions may change in how they look, but I think the African tradition when it comes to Christmas will always stay the same because we do hold all our values. People say Africans are usually very generous, and they love community. So I think Christmas in Africa will continue to mean something very deep, and it will not change anytime soon.
One thing I am taking out from this discussion is that Christmas must really continue to be people-centered. It must be community-focused, and it shouldn't really about material possessions, what you have and what you don't have. Thank you so much. Moki Edwin Kinzeka joined us from Cameroon. Thank you, Moki. Andrew Wasike joined us from Kenya, and then Chinaza Samuel joined us from Nigeria. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Adwoa.
You're welcome.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And to all of you listening at home or at work, thank you so much for spending part of your festive day with us. Christmas may look different now, but its spirit of love, generosity, and togetherness remains as strong as ever. Whether you're keeping old traditions or creating new ones, just remember, it's a joy we share that truly matters. Share your thoughts with us on Facebook at DW Africa. Listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to our DW Africa YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. This show was co-produced and edited by Isaac Kaleji. I am Adwoa Tenkoramaa Domena. And from all of us here at Africa Link, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Until next time, keep the holiday cheer alive, and many thanks for listening.
DW News.
Here